Hey, welcome back, YouTubers, Starship modelers, scale model addicts, and whoever else may be watching this video. Tonight's episode is dedicated to my X-Wing project. Um, I said before, this is a present for my niece. I'm trying to do it nice and good. And I've already finished the major construction on the fuselage and the main ship. And now I'm concentrating on the base. What I want to do with the base is have these little kind of museum portions down here. It may be hard to see back in there, but this runs in pretty deep. I want to have a window that goes over each of these three display cabinets. And I've thought about how I'm going to do this, and what I've come up with is I'm going to use this clear plastic lid to create the window. As you can see, it's pretty well clear. I have another piece over there that's even more clear than this, which I intend to use because this has a whole bunch of pock marks all over it. But this right here demonstrates what it is I intend to use. Basically, it's a lid to one of those store-bought cakes. If you ever bought one of these things, you might have been tempted to keep the lid for good reason. It's got a it's made out of a very bendable and flexible piece of clear plastic, which is optically clear, and it responds very well to cyanoacrylate or Ca superglue, Ca glue or superglue. And back here, this window right here is actually made out of that material. It went in pretty easily, and it's not coming out anytime soon. A little bit of fogging on it, but not too bad, actually, compared to styrene. So I'm just going to on tonight's video, I intend to do the windows on the bottom here. I'm doing windows tonight. I do windows. And I'm going to do the windows up here in the cockpit. I'm going to mask these off and show you my technique for masking windows, little square windows like that. And I'm going to be doing some scribing at the top, so I thought it might be a good idea to demonstrate scribing techniques. For the record, scribing is not as hard as some people make it out to be. It's, well, I'll get to it in a minute. First of all, I'm going to get prepared with my material, and I'm going to show you just how I'm going to make windows like this. And it's a technique that you can use in pretty much any situation where you need a clear, flat pane over say a cockpit, for instance. This cockpit in particular has flat panes of glass. If you wanted to replace this kind of plastic, or if you wanted to make a curved window, but you didn't want to use styrene because it was too brittle. Thick styrene is brittle. Then you can use this stuff. So I'm just going to make a quick cut, and then I will demonstrate my technique. Okay, now here's what you need to create a clear plastic window out of this. First, of course, you need the clear plastic. You also need a sheet of typing paper or cardstock, depending on your preference. I kind of like typing paper because it's flexible and relatively easy to obtain. You also, of course, need your kit's base. Now, the way that I do this is I took my sheet of typing paper, laid it on the side of the flat area here, where I don't have a hole cut yet. Then I just took my pencil and traced on both sides, like so. You don't have to be perfectly precise with this because you're going to be trimming it later anyway. Get that out of the way. Now you have two arcs. Then you just simply put two straight lines that are perpendicular to the arcs. And then take your X-Acto and cut it out. Once you have this new template, you take your piece of clear plastic, lay it on top like so, and then you just lightly score using your X-Acto, preferably a dull one, because that will scratch as opposed to just cutting, and that creates kind of a wider hole, a wider groove. And then you know, if you lose alignment like I just did, you can put it back in position relatively easily. You don't actually have to tape it down, although it will help, but I don't happen to have any tape handy. Then to rotate it around, you just grab one of the corners and pull on it. Use that to move it to a more convenient angle, all the while holding it down. And always keep 2 points of pressure on your template if you don't tape it down. That will ensure that it stays in one place at all times. Even if you're moving it around and repositioning your hand, you can use your thumb, like so, as a second finger, so that you can reposition your hand in any desired position. And of course, then you just complete it. Go all the way around like so. Once you get through the clear plastic using your X-Acto, you know, do not try to cut it all at once. I made that mistake quite a bit whenever I was first modeling, trying to get through with my knife in one go. You do not want to do that, because if you slip, it will damage perfectly good stock, and you will have to reposition your template and cut a whole new piece. And if you have a limited amount of stock, that can be a big problem. Once you get a piece cut out, if you need multiples, then I've already got 3 of them cut out. Then you take your original piece to minimize error and just lay it down on the new section, score again, cut it out, and don't use the new cutouts as templates. Always rely on the original, because if you keep using your old ones, it will result in error, and with something like this, it's not going to be that big of a deal, but you want to be careful anyway. So now that I have my 3 windows, let's go ahead and get to attaching these to my kit's base. Alright, I have already glued one window in place. So now I'm going to show you how to do this yourself. First off, I forgot to mention this a second ago, but you want to make sure that the pieces you're cutting out are bigger than all of your windows. You can fit them if you want. If you want to take the time to do that, I'm not that patient. So I just cut a piece to fit this window right here, since it's the biggest one, and I'm trimming the other ones to fit the other 2 windows, because they are a bit smaller than this one. This is the largest one. So what you want to do is take your piece, and against your desktop or your workbench, you want to give it a nice hard roll against the edge to give it a curve if you're doing a curved surface. You know, of course, this applies to any kind of window that has a curved surface in it if it's a flat surface. Compound curves like bubble canopies, they require a process known as thermoforming. I don't necessarily have to do that in this kit, so I'm not going to demonstrate that process now. Maybe in a later build-up I'll probably do that, but for now, to shape this window, you just roll it against the desktop. And if that doesn't give you enough of a curve, you can actually take this material and roll it against itself. Make a nice little roll of it, if it doesn't slip out of your hands like I did. Like I did a second ago. Make sure it has a nice even curve. Give it a good once over. And then once it's pretty close to fitting, you can start gluing it. Now, as you can see, I don't have any fogging going on this window. That is because, even though I'm using super glue, that's because I am gluing it onto a ventilated surface, what I like to call a ventilated surface. See how the bottom here doesn't have, there's no blockage for the air to escape and for the fumes to get out of there? So as this is drying, all the fumes are escaping. They're not building up on the inside of this, on the inside of the part. So anyway, let's get to gluing. My personal preference for super glue is this stuff right here. Crazy glue and genuine super glue, you know, the original super glue, are great, but I'm kind of on a limited budget. Well, I say that, and I have, you know, resin models and everything. The reason why I'm on a limited budget is because of resin models. But this, you can get it at a Walmart if you're in the U.S. for you can get a package of 4 of these for $1.20, and they last for me, they last a little while because I happen to use a lot of CA. But if you need a bunch of CA, then you want to look for this package of super glue. It comes in a yellow package. It's a if I have it, I don't have it around here anywhere near me, but it's a yellow package, so you can't miss it. It's among all the other glues, you know, which would be near the spray paints and household paints and stuff like that. So anyway, first off, I'm going to spread a line of it all along the edge here. Don't have to be perfect. Just get a gob of it on there. Enough so that when you push your plastic on there, it'll spread. Now, basically, you just go from one edge to the other. Hold it like so with your thumb. You will get super glue on your fingers by doing that, by the way. And just give it a nice press along the edge there. Now, I'm going to have to... Whoa! I glued it to my bench. I have to take matters into my own hands here. One thing you will notice as you're doing this is that the edges are not going to be perfectly aligned with your plastic. That's no big deal. You are a modeler. You can take an X-Acto knife, or your Dremel, or some snips, or whatever you can find, and just trim it. It's not going to hurt anything, and there's going to be a slight seam, but if that's no big deal, you can leave it alone. If it is a big deal, you got putty. So this method will work on a variety of applications. Anywhere from doing windows like this for displays, to doing cockpit windows, to engine manifolds. Actually, engine manifolds is a great use for this. You can take a piece of sandpaper and lightly sand it, you know, fine grit, and then put some stuff called polyfill behind it. This is polyfill. It's the stuff that you find inside of any pillow. So if there's a ratty old pillow that your wife is trying to get rid of, do her a favor and get rid of it for her. And of course, you know, it's going to end up in your workshop. But you put that behind it, and it makes an engine, an evenly glowing engine. Oop. Super glue is very sticky, in case you hadn't noticed. Okay, that's how you do a window in this method. I'm going to trim this later. I want to give the super glue time to set, so I'm going to leave this alone, and I'm going to show you how to mask. But you will have to give me a minute because I need to go get my masking tape.